Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here from the Calcio Bros. It is me, Christian, and it has been a long time since we have done our last video. It's definitely been a crazy month actually on my end, and just been a long stressful week this week, but I thought I'd come back and do a video now that Serie A has come back and is starting off once again, and we can enjoy club football after the stupendous Euros that we did see Italy become European champions. So hopefully we can be treated to the same amount of passion, excitement that we can expect from Serie A, and hopefully again we can be recognized as one of the best leagues out there as well. So there are a few things to talk about as well. Maybe what else we can expect going forward in the league. Um, I will make some predictions as well. But it's hard to say this early on, especially that I'm also doing predictions with the transfer market still open, where the teams can still grab excellent players that can really change the course of their season and their objectives as well. It's tough to say right now, but I thought, especially with 2 games to play, 2 games to play before the transfer market at least closes, as far as I know, what the usual is anyways. But let's at least talk about what we have so far, talk about what's happening this weekend, and talk about some other issues that are actually going on around in other countries, especially here in Canada when it comes to Serie A. If you haven't heard, you definitely need to hear what the hell is going on. So just a quick recap here. Going into this season, as we know, Inter were crowned Serie A champions last year. Milan, Juve, and Atalanta finishing in the top four. Lazio and Napoli finishing fifth and sixth. Sorry, Napoli fifth, Lazio sixth, respectively. Then Roma finishing seventh, debuting in the new Europa Conference League, finishing their first leg qualifier already against Trabzonspor, if I even said their name right. Then we have the relegated teams that were Benevento, Parma of a surprise, and Crotone. Benevento even having a disastrous second half of the season, as we know, only winning 1 game, and that was against Juventus as well. Going on to the newly promoted teams, we had Empoli, who won the Serie B season last year, finishing second with Salernitana, who have not been in Serie A for, I think it's been about 20 years or so, so it's been a very long time for them as well. They also had to get some other paperwork and other financial stuff sorted. Maybe not financials, but ownership dealings, as they were also owned by Claudio Lotito, who owns Lazio. And as we know, one owner cannot own 2 teams in the same division, so he did, of course, sell Salernitana or give it to the bank, as far as I remember, or did find some type of investor. I can't remember. And then we have Venezia, who won the playoffs against Cittadella, who make their return also to Serie A after about 20 something years, maybe around there. And honestly, Venezia have probably the best jerseys of Serie A. They absolutely pulled off the trifecta. They're absolutely stunning. If you guys haven't seen them, definitely check it out. They're a thing of beauty. And if they get a Canadian player, I actually need to get a Venezia jersey with a Canadian player on it, considering all the MLS players they are buying. Anyway, so let's talk about a couple things before we talk about the schedule as well. So as we know, there have been a lot of transfers that have gone on. Some teams hit hard. Other teams are kind of working their squad in great shape. Talk about a few. One of the big ones has been with Inter, who were forced to sell 2 of their best players from their championship winning side, and Achraf Hakimi, who left to go to PSG for 60 million euros. And then we have Romelu Lukaku, who went to Chelsea for 115 million euros. You know, that is a huge loss for them. Lukaku has been there now for 2 years, while Hakimi just joined for the 1 season. And it's tough when you need to sell. You need to sell sometimes, and it's more of external stuff, not the club's fault. It's more Suning and stuff with his parent company or other companies in China. So that was definitely a tough thing for a lot of Nerazzurri fans to see. They're their best players. And I know the one thing about this is we always know that the league will be there, even after these great players leave, because great players do come and go, and the league will always be there, and we will always attract big players. But the one negative I see about this is we need to be able to keep our star players, not being able to get them in for a season and then sell them off for, um, 10 times as much or whatever the price is, for example. But it's sad to see that our league is losing some top players, and how are we supposed to be continuing to be competitive, be recognized as one of the best leagues if we keep losing players who help make the league better? Teams need to be able to hold on to their best players, and like it's tough, especially that they were a winning side and those are two huge losses for the Nerazzurri. And there were rumors of Lautaro leaving as well to either Tottenham or Arsenal, but at the same time, Inter kept denying and denying. They're trying to hold on to it because they don't want to lose Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez in the same transfer window because they're just hard to replace. They had excellent chemistry. They knew how to really get the play going, getting good goal scoring opportunities. Like they just created goals and really worked for their team. And how do you expect to fully be replaced? They brought in Edin Dzeko and Denzel Dumfries, who definitely are not they are not terrible signings at all. Yes, Dzeko is 35, I think, something they got him for really cheap. He's also a guy who knows how to score. He knows the league, can hold the ball up really well. But is he a player like Lukaku? It's not much of an upgrade. Let's see how well he can link up with Martinez. Even Dumfries, he's still young. He saw some chance to kind of prove himself. It's definitely not an upgrade over Hakimi, but it's still on an honest, solid replacement anyways to begin with. They did also bring in Hakan Çalhanoğlu as well because of what happened with Christian Eriksen, and because of Italian laws, no player with an ICD is allowed to play unless he gets it removed, and that's the thing. Do they risk having the ICD removed from Eriksen, or do they have to ship him off somewhere else? So that's the unfortunate thing in this dilemma now. But is Çalhanoğlu a good replacement for Eriksen? I wouldn't think so, considering the season he had with Milan last year. He was very inconsistent within those 4 years that he was there. So it's depending how well now he can link up. The new coach as well, for example, the Inter were hit with one of the many, not hit, but they were, well, I guess they were kind of hit with a coaching change, as Conte wanted to leave as he didn't get that along with Sunin in some retrospect. That he was replaced by Simone Inzaghi, who plays in a way like a similar style in some sense, with a three at the back, a counter-attacking type style with Lazio. So he definitely is a good replacement in that sense because he can kind of still fit the system. But is he that much of an upgrade over Conte? No. But it's depending. Sometimes these coaches need that big move, and this is where they get better. So it's tough to say how well Inzaghi will be able to build off of Conte's Inter and what he can achieve. So it's definitely going to be a tough ask. There is a lot more pressure, especially being the reigning champions, if they can repeat once again, or are they going to lose out to another team? So lots to kind of see forward with that. We'll move on to a couple of the other teams now. With their city rivals too, for example, Milan, they let go of Donnarumma, actually both of them, but one, Gigio went to PSG as he wanted a new challenge. I think he thought he could, it's as far as I know, he could achieve more with PSG. For me, that's a bit... He finally got to Champions League with Milan. I can understand if they didn't make it to Champions League and they were once again in Europa League, but he finally got to Champions League with the supposed boyhood club. But anyways, he goes to a PSG stacked team after that ridiculous signing of Messi as well. That's FIFA Ultimate Team for you. But anyways, they let go of both Donnarummas. They let go of what, like I said, Çalhanoğlu. And Milan have done well because they did exercise their rights to sign Fikayo Tomori. They re-signed Diaz for another 2-year loan deal. They did purchase outright Sandro Tonali in a very awkward deal because the superstition with Cellino. Also giving in a counterpart, a young product Oldster. They did bring in a left back for Theo Hernandez, who's also linked with PSG, and PSG doesn't seem to stop on their pursuit of the French fullback. They just want to buy everyone. It's incredible. But yeah, the Italian teams are the ones punished for FFP violations. Anyways, they signed Ballo Touré as a substitute, and they're completing deals now for Bakayoko, who will return to the club after not having a bad year a couple years back when Gattuso was in charge with the club. Did have a rough start, but was able to get himself going later on. And then signing Alessandro Florenzi on a loan, who could be a good option at both right back and right wing. Brings experience, European pedigree as well with the Euros. And we'll add some extra quality on that right-hand side and probably what Pioli needed as well. Let's see what else they have in the market. And oh yeah, don't forget Olivier Giroud, who will also help take some load off Ibra. I know he's another veteran himself, but he is a veteran who knows how to win, knows how to score, and really knows how to be productive for his team. Let's see what else they can do. Oh yeah, and I'm even forgetting Mike Maignan, who is now the first choice keeper after they signed him a day after, 1-2 days after the season actually ended, when that whole Gigio mess did start. He should be it's definitely not Gigio caliber, but he is still an excellent shot stopper after winning the league title with Lille last season in Ligue 1. Moving on to teams, we have Juve, who yes, they did let go of Demiral after Atalanta bought Romero, then they sold him to Tottenham, bring Demiral in his place. I do feel Juve still need a center back because they really have 3 great center backs, Chiellini, Bonucci, and De Ligt. Who knows what's going to happen with Rugani. And think about too, Bonucci and Chiellini are also getting older, so they still need a young center back to partner with De Ligt in the future, depending if Atalanta buy Demiral or not. They did finally manage to get Locatelli on their hands after 2 months of negotiations, 35 mil. I believe it is a loan with obligation to buy, perhaps. Still a good signing for him. He did want the move, so this will probably help get him going. And it's definitely what Juventus needed, a person who knows how to win the ball, create the pass, control the midfield, be that type of Pirlo-esque player that they needed. And especially with Allegri in charge, the Juve is going to be a hell of an opponent. And they didn't need much, but it's just because they have Allegri, and Allegri knows how to win with Juventus, and he can really make the best out of most players. He can really cause a lot of teams to run for their money. Let's see now if Juve are back in the Scudetto. Well, they were never out of this. Never out of the Scudetto contention, but make a better push for it because they have that experienced coach behind them, and a coach who knows the system, who knows, like I said, how to win, and can really get the best out of all his players. So I know there is a bit of a tension between him and Cristiano Ronaldo, but we'll see if they can work things out, especially this season. I know Ronaldo does have 1 year left on his contract, so let's see if he even leaves before then. Again, there's a couple more weeks left in the transfer market. Anything can still happen, but we have to think about what's going to happen now going into this weekend. Lazio had their transfer embargo lifted because they were able to get some income. There's some weird restriction because they had to make profit in order to register their new signings. So they managed to. So they managed to register Luca Romero, I think his name was. I remember the last name was Romero. I could be wrong. Um, Felipe Anderson, who makes his return to Lazio after spending some time in England with West Ham. They did sign Hisaj from Napoli on a free transfer after he departed the club. And then they just welcome back, not welcome, so I'm saying welcome back. They just signed Pedro on a free transfer as well, directly from their rivals Roma. And it's been almost, I think I remember seeing it about 40 years when a player directly went from Roma to Lazio or vice versa. Or probably just from Roma to Lazio, and it's been that intense that the rivalry is like that. Let's see how even new coach Sadi can get the team going after Inzaghi had left the team. Most of the core is still the same. They do have a lot of the same players. Let's see who else they can bring. But the thing is, Lotito is not much to spend money, so that's the thing. How much is he willing to spend to really get his side going? As we know, most of his transfers have been free transfers. So again, how much money is Lotito willing to spend to get his side more competitive? I know sometimes you don't have to spend much, but 5 million, 7 million, 10 million euros, you got to spend something, you know? Going even to their city rivals who did spend quite a bit of money. One of their biggest signings was Tammy Abraham in this Mourinho side, replacing Edin Dzeko, who, like I said, went to Inter. They do have Zaniolo, who I guess you can be considered almost like a new signing anyways, fully fit and back from injury. They didn't, Mateus Vinha, and a huge upgrade at the back, signing the Portugal #1 in Rui Patricio. Definitely a huge upgrade at the back, and especially we've known Roma has had difficulties in the goalkeeping slot in the last few years. It's definitely a huge upgrade that they needed, and for them to be competitive. And let's honestly see how Mourinho can really get control of this team, because his teams tend to start off well, but then they kind of dip a bit. So let's see how he manages with this Roma side. Maybe he can get a good rebound year for himself. Roma are still looking to make a few signings. Like I said, they did have their first leg win over Trabzonspor. They did have their new signing Eldor Shomurodov from Genoa score the winning goal. And like I said, let's see what else they can do going forward and see how well they can move with the Mourinho at the helm throughout the season. A couple other teams just I could go all day with every time, but not the best topic. I'll just mention a few other teams going with it. Napoli, I'm just trying to remember if they really signed anyone. I don't think Napoli has really signed anyone in particular. I could be wrong, but as far as I know, they've been kind of quiet. A lot of rumored departures on their end, with Kostas Manolas reportedly wanting to leave. The rumors with Insigne not re-signing his contract, so he is a lot of things. But I still feel, depending what Napoli do, they can still be a good contender for next year. They need a good bounce back, especially with Spalletti in charge. Another coaching change for them. So a lot of top sides did change coaches, Milan being one of the few that didn't. But Spalletti is still a good coach. Napoli would still be a good fit for him. He could definitely work well with even the front three of Insigne, Mertens, and Osimhen. Definitely excellent. Zielinski as well in the midfield. Fabian Ruiz. He can definitely shake things up there and really get a good side going, but it also depends who else they can bring in. I'm sorry if any Napoli fans are watching this that I forget if Napoli signed everyone. I'm just trying to remember from the top of my head right now. We have Salernitana, who signed Simi, who from relegated Crotone for 6 million, which is excellent pieces of business, and a relegated side scoring 20 goals. Let's see what he can bring to Salernitana this year. And I'm surprised no other high mid-table top club managed to sign him, considering Salernitana got him for only 6 million. So that is incredible business. Venezia, like I said, signing a few MLS players. Busio, one of the top prospects from MLS, coming over. Definitely good signing. They're starting to build a good team on their hands. And like I said, if they can get one Canadian player, I'm definitely getting a jersey with that guy's name on it. Depending who the Canadian player is, of course, though. But let's see how well they can do to stay up top Serie A this year. Fiorentina coaching change with Italiano taking charge after leaving Spezia. I don't think they've worked with too many signings, but as we know, some players have left their side as well. Ribéry, Petzea, they are trying to still hold on to Vlahovic. Let's see if they can hold on to, because it's tempting. With 70 mil, they're trying to re-sign his contract. It's very tough, right? Let's see what else they can bring. Definitely get more in that. We have Spezia change their coach after Italiano left, of course, with Thiago Motta. Let's see if he can bring his 2-7-2, 2-7-1. I don't even remember his. He had a stupid formation. That's how stupid it was. I just can't remember it because it's just. There are, like I said, lots of coaching changes. If I remember any more on the top of my head, because like there was quite a few coaching changes. If I did forget, I very much apologize. It's very hard to write information and doing some of the stuff. Like I said, it's just been a stressful week. Now with some of the other changes that are going on too, as you may have heard, there is a schedule change in some sense. So they applied it like how it is in the EPL. So whoever you play on match day 1 is not the same team you play on match day 20. As we know, there's the one side, it could be whatever team. We'll say they're the Derby d'Italia, Inter Juve, right? As we know, it would usually be Inter Juve, then on the next day would be Juve Inter. In that sense, it's not going to be. So on match day 1, it'll be Inter Juve, and then maybe on match day 20, it could be Milan Inter. It's completely changed. And you could play someone on match day 19, and within 8 weeks could play that team again. You have to have that 8-week gap, but I think you have to play every team at least once before that happens. So your whole schedule is different from how it was. It's definitely an interesting change. Like I said, I know they do that in the APL. If anyone's actually played Football Manager, and they do that there, and I think even FIFA, then by the time your third season, after your first season, they usually do that, I believe. But I know EPL, like a Football Manager, I don't know how I feel about it. It's definitely an interesting choice. I guess we'll see how it plays out when we actually see it happen in the league itself. And I don't have much to say on it because it could go both ways. It could be bad, could be good. I guess it depends how the schedule works with Coppa Italia fixtures, Champions League, Europa League, Conference League if Roma make it. I guess we'll have to see. But if those of you who haven't heard, those are the scheduling changes for the Serie A calendar year and this year. Now that we can finally get that out of the way, it's time to talk about what is going to happen this weekend. As we know, like I said before, Serie A started this weekend. So let's take a look at the fixtures that are going to open up the Serie A 2021-2022. That feels like a mouthful now. Season at this point now. So August 21st, that is Saturday. Let's talk about what is happening. So the first 2 games of the season are both at 12:30. I know it's a really awkward time this year. They definitely changed it up. Anyways, we have Inter Genoa and Verona Sassuolo. So 2 good games I feel to open up the Serie A year. Not a bad opponent for Inter to start off the calendar year. Genoa, who did impress under Ballardini, but I know there's some issues right now with his contract, his renewal with Preziosi, a whole bunch of shit going on anyways. But it should be a good opening fixture. Then Verona Sassuolo should be an excellent matchup as well. 2 good teams who were kind of close to getting that 7th spot away from Roma, but they just managed to falter afterwards. But it still should be a good opening fixture. Then later on at 2:45, we have Empoli, Lazio, and Torino, Atalanta. Now Empoli making their return to Serie A against Lazio and against Sarri's debut with the Biancocelesti. Let's see who can come out on top over here. Torino, Atalanta, as we know, Torino close to being relegated last year, or trying to get out of that relegation battle. It's definitely going to be a tough ask for them. They also did lose their goalie in Sirigu, so it looks like they're going to stick with Milinkovic-Savic in net unless they sign another keeper. Sirigu actually moving on to Genoa, so I don't think Genoa were able to get Petting for another year. But Atalanta too, they managed to keep so far Ilicic. They signed Juan Musso from Udinese, so that is actually a solid goalkeeper addition for them. Anyway, so after selling Golini to Tottenham, so definitely a good addition for them. Let's see who else they can sign. I know there's rumors of Zapata leaving, so let's see if they can hold on to him as well to be a real threat that they were, and let's see if they can keep coming up for another Champions League season this year. Moving on to Sunday, another 4 matches as well, 2 as well at 12:30. We have Bologna, Salernitana, and Udinese Juventus. So Salernitana making their debut against Mihailovic's Bologna, and considering Mihailovic did lose in midweek to Triestina in the Coppa Italia 5-4? 5-4. It was a hell of a fixture, but at the same time, not what I would have liked when a lot of the starters were playing. So let's see what Salernitana can do in their debut, not debut season. I feel like they're a debut season because I haven't really seen them in Serie A. But it should be a good test for them to see what else they can expect against some of these top sides. Mihailovic want to try to regain a bit of momentum with his side. It seems like he hasn't been able to get the best out of his players, so maybe he can get more this year and see what he can do against a newly promoted team. While Allegri marks his return with Juventus against Udinese. Can they get off to a winning start with a lot of their additions, or can Udinese cause some problems? Thing is with Udinese too, they lost to Paul, which I actually did forget to mention earlier. But that's like I said, we're talking about quality players leaving Serie A. We couldn't even hold on to DePaul. He couldn't make a big move to an Italian Serie A top side. He ended up going to Atletico Madrid. But let's see what Udinese can do. Without his services, like I said, they lost Juan Musso, but they did replace him with Marco Silvestri, who was an excellent shot stopper as well with Verona. So it is a good replacement, in my opinion. But can they work well without DePaul's help? It depends what else they can do in this transfer market. Then going on to 2:45, we have Roma, Fiorentina, and Napoli, Venezia. So Roma, Fiorentina is definitely a top match, I would say, of the opening day, with Italiano making his first competitive. Actually, probably had a Coppa Italia match, so that's competitive. But a top flight match against Roma, who definitely look like a team to beat this year with their additions of with Mourinho especially in charge. Can Laviola pull away a surprise, or will Roma be able to get to the winning start they want to achieve this year in Serie A? And with Napoli, Venezia, Spalletti will take on a newly promoted side and one of his former clubs that he did play for, I think, or coached, one of them. I know he has a relation with Venezia, so it should be good. Like I said, Venezia building, it seems like a pretty solid team. Definitely have to do, speaking of that anyways, I do have to do a video on a transfer market discussion here. Let's see how that goes eventually, so just wait for that. Hopefully it can do it. But anyways, let's stay on topic here. Napoli, Venezia, it should be an entertaining game. Let's see what Zanetti's side can pull off against Spalletti's side. It's all to play for. Like I said, I can't say much about a lot of these games. I know it can go considering based off what we've seen last season, but a lot of these teams have changed too, or haven't done much compared to some of the other teams. So I want to see how these opening fixtures go before I really get into more detail about it. Then on August 23rd, so that's the Monday, we do have another 2 fixtures. We have one at 12:30, and that is Cagliari Spezia. Now Spezia did lose a couple of players, I think, but they did are signing quite a few as well to try to be as competitive. and they, like I said, with a new coach in charge as well, Cality. They're keeping hold of Nandez. I feel like they lost someone, but I can't remember the name of who it was. I could be wrong, but it should be not a bad fixture for them. Each other, I would say, to excuse me, to start off. Let's see what they can both produce. And then at 2:45, we have Sampdoria Milan. Milan trying to get off to a winning start once again with ambitions for Champions League football once again, and seeing how well they can go with a lot of these new signings. They're also still trying to get the Florenzi deal done so they can have him available for Monday's match. It is very close to being finalized, should be done this weekend. Sandoria, let's see what. Oh my God, I know they have a new coach because Ranieri did leave. Oh my God, D'Aversa was their new coach after leaving Parma. And he is not a bad fit for Sampdoria after taking charge. So I do feel he can do better with this Sam side, especially with a solid team. Let's see who they can keep. I know with Quagliarella, Quagliarella, Damsgaard, who had a great Euros. Let's see how well they can really produce this year under a different style. Anyways, those were the opening fixtures of Serie A. Like I said, I wish I could go more detail, but I kind of want to see each game in hand and really assess how I feel. But anyways, which match are you guys looking forward to? And let me know where you guys think each team will finish off. I'll get to my predictions shortly, but we do have one thing to talk about. And like I said, as much as I would love to watch every game this weekend, it's very tough for one particular reason. So for those of you who haven't heard or don't live in Canada, DAZN does not have the rights anymore for Serie A. Originally last year they were broadcasted on DAZN and TLN. And TLN would show, I want to say, 6 matches on the weekend, while DAZN, I guess, would show every single game plus whatever else was not on TV. So you actually got to see every game played. But this year, they changed it. I don't know why DAZN lost the rights or what happened, but TLN is only showing now 3 games a week, all in Italian, which honestly is not a big deal. If it's in Italian, English, as long as I can watch the game, and Italian for me, or most Italians, watching commentary in Italian is fine. It's not a huge deal. But anyways, from 6 games to 3 is absurd. And the new partner or broadcaster or whatever is Fubo TV. And they're another streaming channel. You pay $15 a month and you get all these bunch of games or whatever. But they said they have a total of 41 matches between Serie A and Coppa Italia. So all together, which means you can't see your favorite team all the time. They're not showing every game like you do or like DAZN did. They're only showing 5 games this weekend. So 3 of them being sorry, I don't know why I'm doing that. 3 of them being the ones that TLN are showing, and then 2 other games, I don't know which ones. So from what I've seen too, is a lot of Napoli fans, which are rightfully, and Lazio fans too, are rightfully upset. 2 of the top teams in Italy aren't being able to stream. And Serie A, one of their huge issues was being against piracy, streaming illegal games. But if our teams are not available to watch on a streaming service that we have to pay for, then what is the point of it if not all games are available? If you have the rights to a league, you should be able to show every game, unless there is an issue with whatever. Like I know for one example, I can't remember who has League on. I believe it's either Fubo TV or DAZN. I can't remember, or beIN Sports, something. But Lille has a deal with One Soccer because of Jonathan David, the Canadian, so they can always broadcast the Canadian. So that I can get. But as far as I know, Lazio, Napoli, they don't have any other agreements with any other streaming platform. And the fact that, again, there are two of the top sides in Italy and you're not showing them, and they have such a strong fan base, at least the zone would show a Genoa, Spezia, like, no, again, no disrespect, like some of the minor, not minor, but the lower end side of the table teams, they would show those relegation battles. They would show every fixture, and yet you're showing 5 games with 3 of them already being on cable TV. So that is absurd. So you're paying so much for nothing. Yes, you get the Coppa Italia, but you're not getting to, you can't choose which game you want to watch. You don't have the option of watching your team play. So that means you're going to have to do illegal streams. So to me, that is absolutely absurd. I feel bad for those fans that have to do that. So I really feel for you. It is definitely an unfortunate circumstance, and hopefully Football TV can fix it. I know they're saying they will have more in the future, but the future, you could lose a whole bunch of subscribers already because you don't have their teams now, because they want them now. So that's the one issue a lot of people are having here in Canada, and it's definitely unfortunate that someone can't watch their own team. And honestly, I even remember the time where when Champions League was actually shown here on TV on TSN, you had to look up in the future to see what team was playing, because if your team wasn't playing, you had to stream it, and that's what it's going to come to again, because you don't have the availability to watch it on a paid service. So piracy it is, because Serie A can be a joke sometimes. So that was my rant about the broadcasting issues here in Canada. Hopefully you guys in other countries or wherever else you're watching this don't have that type of issue, because to me it's just BS. All right, so enough of that. Let's get on to my final issue, or my final topic of this discussion, and that is my predictions. I'm not going to do the whole table, because that to really think of where mid-table teams are going to finish or wherever, it's a headache and a half. So I would just focus on the relegations, European spots, and winner, of course. So I'm going to just think about, again, since we haven't seen them play, and the recent transfer market, coaching changes, but it's hard to say, especially with after 2 games played, with still a transfer market open for another week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever it is. I definitely have to just kind of think of where I'm going to have him. So I got one right last year, because last year I did predict Crotone, Spezia, and Genoa to be relegated, Crotone being the only one, because Parma and Benevento were the 2 surprises to be relegated last year. So we'll see if my predictions are different this year. We'll see. I think I did have Inter Juve to win. Can't remember. So starting off with relegation side, judging with the teams, I really want to say Salernitana. I'm gonna go with Genoa again, because I just feel actually I don't know about Genoa. I will say Salernitana. I feel Venezia will stay safe. They will have a relegation battle, but I feel they will stay safe this year. You know what? I feel maybe Torino. I feel Torino just because they didn't really struggle last season. They haven't really upgraded their side a lot, and it depends too if Belotti is still, because it's hard for him to carry the team on his back. He does deserve that move away from Torino, and especially losing Sirigu. Yes, he wasn't the best of goalkeepers last year, a European champion too, though. But it's definitely tough for him. But I don't think so. Salernitana, Torino. I feel Spezia. Instead of Genoa, it's going to be between Genoa and Spezia, but I feel the experience is going to help Genoa kind of just edge out on front. So Torino, Spezia, and Salernitana. I think I'm going to lock those in. It's definitely going to be tough. Again, anything can happen throughout the season. Transfer window, we got 2 transfer windows as well. Maybe I'll change my predictions come later on. We will see. But for now, that's who I have by the start and before the beginning of the season. Now finishing in 7th, so the Conference League position. And as we know too, winner of the Conference League does qualify automatically to the Europa League. So same thing, Europa League goes to Champions League. Champions League winner, of course, qualifies for Champions League. So this time, the Conference League winner will qualify automatically for Champions League. Champions League. That's a huge jump. Europa League. So hopefully, maybe we can see a Italian side. Well, basically Roma. Once they qualify, hopefully they can win it. But anyways, finishing 7th for me. Because it's hard to juggle with all these teams. I kind of feel like it will be Lazio just because they haven't really reinforced their side too much. They did bring in some great players, like I said, Pedro, Felipe Anderson. Oh my God, I'm having a blank. Hisage, but do they have enough depth to keep it going? Maybe Sadi can definitely change things up, but I feel only because he did struggle a lot last year, and I know Immobile will definitely get the goals for them, but will his goals be enough? Same thing, rumors of Correa leaving. Depends if they can hold on to him, but I feel it's going to be a close battle with them and whoever finishes 6th, which I will feel would be Roma just because of Mourinho being in charge. They do have a solid goalkeeper now with Rui Patricio. And with good striker Tammy Abraham, I know he can definitely bounce back at Roma and with Mourinho in charge. And especially with Zaniolo back, if he can stay healthy, they are definitely going to be a tough side to beat. In 5th, I will have Napoli just because right now they do have a lot of the same core. They did perform well last year. With Spalletti, I do see them doing well, but I still feel them finishing just outside the Champions League. Just because I feel they're still missing 1 or 2 pieces. Maybe they can recover something in the next couple weeks. But because Napoli do have that odd period where, they do slump a bit. Like I said, they didn't accumulate a lot of points because they would either win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. They didn't get enough draws to get that extra point that they needed. So that didn't really help them last year. So that if they can maybe bounce back a little bit, they could just sneak into Champions League, but I still have them 5th spot. In 4th, I have Atalanta. I do feel they're going to be a strong team, but I still feel that they're going to finish 4th, just outside. Let's see how well Gasperini can do. They will definitely be a force to play against, but definitely they're going to be 4th for me. I have Inter actually in 3rd. Even though there's a lot of new acquisitions in that side, I don't feel it's the same type of quality that they had from last year. And especially with a new coach in charge, I know Inzaghi does play a similar style in some sense with Conte, but I still feel them dropping off. 2nd, I have Milan. They did a lot of good acquisitions. They managed to re-sign a lot of players to bring back, and I feel there are more deals with depth coming in because I feel they do have had one of the better transfer markets so far, considering some teams. And then first, that means I have Juventus because the Allegri is back. The season Chiesa had from last year in the Euros, signing Locatelli. I do see them being a real threat for that Scudetto, and I do feel they'll be able to reclaim their Serie A throne once again. So those are my predictions. Like I said, I could change it later on, depending on what I've seen so far and what I've seen in the transfer market. But let me know if you agree with those choices. I do see top scorer being Ciro Immobile because he does play much better with Lazio than he does with Italy. That is unfortunate to say, even though he did win the Euros. But I see one of the best players of the season also being Federico Chiesa, who's just been phenomenal with Juventus. Fiorentina is definitely holding him back. and he has played exceptionally well, and I can't wait to see what he can offer with Allegri at the helm. So again, those are my predictions. Let me know if you guys agree, disagree. It's just a rough kind of thing. Like, I know I kind of it's hard to choose at this point. It's so early, kind of thing. Let me know also what you guys think about the fixtures, what you guys think of the broadcasting issues with Serie A as well. Be sure to comment below. Let me know. I hope to do a little more consistent videos with you guys. Like I said, it's just been a crazy month, stressful week. So hope to be a little more consistent going forward. If you guys are enjoying what you are seeing so far, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell to receive notifications on all our latest videos. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Calcio_bros, and I hope to hear from you guys soon. Ciao.